moving right along, working on the rectangle tool. So it says make 3 rectangles, make 1 perfect square of those 3 rectangles, and give each one a different stroke and fill. So stroke is, again, an outline. So if I, just to show you, if I come over here right now and grab the rectangle tool, which is right there, okay? Down here, this is your fill, and this is your stroke. Currently, my fill is set to no fill, so if I double click, right, and I give it a fill blue, now I have a fill of blue and a stroke of green. Let me show you what that looks like. So if I mouse down and drag, it's kind of hard to see because the stroke is only 1 point. So if I come up here and I'm going to make my stroke like 5, there you go. Now you can clearly see that I have a stroke of blue, a stroke of green and a fill of blue. All right. So I'm going to draw this again, and here's the cool thing about Illustrator that I love is you can change your mind later. So if you have something and you're like, well, I wanted it to be a different stroke, different fill, no problem. Watch this. Oh, look at that. I just reverse these two. Before, after. So easy. Now, this looks like a perfect square. It might be a perfect square, but let me show you how to for sure get a perfect square, because that's one of the things I ask you to do. All you have to do is hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, right? There it is. And I have a perfect square every single time. So for this perfect square, I'm going to give it a different stroke and a different fill just to be different. There we go. Okay. So different stroke, different fill. Pretty easy. The circle tool, the ellipse tool is very similar. If I mouse down, you can see there are all these other options. We're going to go to the ellipse tool. So I'm going to click on this, and I just did something called make it a tear off menu. If you missed it, if you mouse down and you go to this little arrow at the end, you get this tear off menu. And what's nice about that is I don't have to keep mousing down to grab it. I can just click on this. So here's my ellipse. So perfect circle. Let's just start with that one again. If you haven't figured it out, hold down the Shift key. Yay. Okay. Other ovals, right? There we go. All right. So I have 3 ovals, one's a perfect circle, and I want to go back and change each of these. And again, I can edit them after the fact. I love this. So before, the traditional way of doing this was to just go ahead and go to my fill and my stroke and call it a day. I'm going to click on my fill, so I know I'm using the fill. Make sure you're not clicking on stroke when you do this. And I'm going to click down here on gradient. See where I am? And I get that. Nice. And it's hard to show. Let me drag it over. But this just popped up on my screen. I now have the gradient option here. And just to show you, currently it's on linear, so I can make this radial. Cool, right? I can change the angle, although on radial it doesn't really matter. But if I turn this back to linear and I change the angle here to, like, say 45 degrees, you can see that the gradient changed right there. Let me show you on this one though. So I'm going to click on this one, make a gradient, and I have the same thing. But I think I'm getting sick of black and white. I love black and white, but let's say I wanted, to add some color to this too. Double click down here, and this pops up. And I don't know why Illustrator does this, but if you can't access the colors, click on this little arrow with the 3 lines right here and go to RGB, and you can see there's some choices now. So now, oh, look at that. So now I have a very lovely shade of green, or color of green. I've added, let's add some blue in there, and I can move this around. Let's say if I kind of like that. Maybe I want the white in the middle. Oh, that looks like a reflective surface now in a mirror. I like that. And so I can change the angle. I can do all kinds of different things with this. So for this, I'm going to go into gradients in more detail later, but for now, what I'd like you to do, and you can see every single time I do this, it just defaults back to the old gradient. But what I'd like you to do is create several different gradients. Now let's say like I have a color and I don't want it anymore. You just click on it and hit the garbage can and it's gone. So that's how you play around with the circles, and that's how you play around with gradients and stroke and fill. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to use the eraser tool and also explain what the perspective drawing tool is, because everybody goofs up with that.